Hello everyone, my name is Taylor Lester and I hope this video finds you well. The purpose of this research is to better acquaint myself and others with geomatics. The research report covers the definition of geomatics and what distinguishes it from land surveying. I will then discuss the history of surveying, including ancient history, recent history, and famous American surveyors. I will mention how the methods and responsibilities of surveyors have changed and will continue to change in the future. There are also many types of surveys that may be unfamiliar to the listener as they once were to myself. Therefore, I will mention the different types of surveys I have found in my research. Geomatics is a term most people have never heard of. However, it is essentially synonymous with surveying. Surveying, which is also interchangeably called geomatics, has traditionally been defined as the science, art, and technology of determining the relative positions of points above, on, or beneath the Earth's surface, or of establishing such points. The term geomatics has been introduced in order to include all of the recent changes that have taken place in the surveying industry due to modern technologies. Ever since human beings started marking property corners, surveying has been around. One of the most basic surveying instruments is the plumb bob, which is still used today. It was first used by the Egyptians. The Egyptians used surveying to mark boundaries of property and building construction. Two other ancient civilizations that contributed to the science of surveying were Greece and Rome. The Romans are famous for their heroic engineering of their aqueducts, tunnels, and roads. These major undertakings could not have been accomplished successfully without utilizing surveying. The Greek and Romans also invented new surveying instruments. The Greeks invented the dioptra, and the Romans invented the libra and the groma. After the developments of the Greeks and Romans, surveying advanced slowly. It was not until the 18th and 19th century when surveying began to advance more rapidly. It was during this time, in 1807, that America established its first agency to oversee surveying projects, namely the U.S. Coast Survey. Other factors in America's history that contributed to the advancement of surveying technology were the demands of a growing population, exploration, ecology, and national defense. Surveying also contributed to and benefited from the space program, where new equipment and systems were needed to provide precise control of missile alignment and for mapping and charting portions of the moon and nearby planets. Surveying has advanced so rapidly in modern times that the instruments that were used just a few decades ago are now obsolete due to the advent of electronic total stations, global navigation satellite systems, laser scanning instruments, aerial cameras, remote sensing instruments, and digital photogrammic restitution instruments. A few famous American leaders who were surveyors are George Washington, who became a surveyor as a young adult. He was one of the leaders of the Ohio Company, whose purpose was to explore the western lands. There's Thomas Jefferson, who has commissioned the Lewis and Clark expedition and proposed the rectangular survey system for the western lands, which became the Land Ordinance of 1785. There's Abraham Lincoln, who began assisting a surveyor in Illinois and eventually started working on his own. However, his career only lasted a few years. And there's Henry David Thoreau, who became well known for his surveying and he supported himself by surveying through the 1850s. The responsibility of surveyors has in some ways remained the same over thousands of years, but with advancing technology, surveyors may have to take on more responsibilities, mainly dealing with GIS products to better serve the entire spatial data needs of the future. With the newer technology, our amount of data has increased substantially. Most people might picture surveyors as the people who go and only do traverse someone's plots of land. But surveyors, of course, do traverse plots of land, but there are many other types of surveys. There's control surveys, topographic surveys, land boundary and cadastral surveys, hypographic surveys, alignment surveys, construction as-built surveys, mine surveys, solar surveys. There's optical tooling, which is also referred to as industrial surveying. There's ground, aerial, and satellite surveys. And basically, now with all this data, we are all now aware that geomatics, or land surveying, is an old age profession that is continuing to grow. The ancient Egyptians, Greeks, and Romans were laying out boundaries and setting property corners with simple yet surprisingly accurate tools. In modern times, we are now doing the same thing, except we use satellites and computerized equipment And the word Geomatics is an international community of professionals that offer many opportunities for aspiring surveyors, and it will be exciting to become part of this evolving field as I am studying that.